Welcome back to Troyer's Travels. Today we are in Rome. We are checking out the Colosseum and some other things. Thanks for joining us. Come along with us as we explore. Alright, we're at the Piazza del Colosseo with the Colosseum right here and a lot of other things that you can check out. People are coming for the tours from all over. You have tour guides just all over down there. Just letting people know where they're at, letting people know that they can buy the tickets online, all kinds of other things. Also here in the square you have the Arch of Constantine, you have the Roman Forum, and many other things of historic significance. And as you go through this square you can find different maps and different things to read about the history ahead of time if you'd like to. They said that the Romans, of course, came out with the ability to make arched concrete, and that greatly added to their architectural skill and the things that they could make. The Colosseum here, they said that each of these rounded pillars at the bottom there, the arches, weigh about 5 tons each, so that's a lot of weight. We're going to check out the inside of the Colosseum here in a minute, and thanks for joining us.
Aside from the history, one of my favorite things in the square was this water station and charging station combined. So you could charge your phone and you had your choice of natural or still water on one side, and the other side had frizzante or soda water. This water was 100% free, as well as the charging at the station. As you go throughout Rome, you'll be able to see many other fountains, not like this, but fountains from the ground that have water available for you to drink, which is flowing throughout the city. We did an entire video on this, so if you want to check that out, it's in the description below, and it's on our YouTube channel. On your way in, you can take notice of the SPQR stamped on the drains. Keep in mind that as you go through the entranceway to the Colosseum, you're going to have to pass through security, so make sure you don't bring anything questionable that's going to stop you there. Once you pass through security, you're going to be under the arches, and you're going to see some signs and some artifacts, some fallen pieces from the Colosseum, and you're going to have some information about the structure itself. Although we had the option of a guided tour, we chose to go with the Rick Steves guidebook and walk through this ourselves. My wife was reading some of the different things as I videotaped.
The triumph of the name of Jesus. The church's sunroof opens and we can see right up to heaven. The glowing cross renounced both IHS and Latin Savior.
And basically, when you go through, you hit the initial area, has a giant cross overlooking the entire Colosseum. This tour is laid out in such a way that you'll want to hit that, and then you'll want to go on upstairs. When we were visiting, there were employees directing people along the path, so it was hard to go back if you missed something. They did have some information booths and also restrooms in the downstairs area here, so if you need to utilize those, then this would be a good time to do so.
We are inside of the Colosseum, and as you can see behind me, some seating, stuff like that. And actually, down there, that's underneath what would have been the floor. It would have been covered in wood, and then covered in sand as well. Unfortunately, it soaked up the sweat and the blood, but
Sure.
it is.
Give me a sec.
It is right there, and you can actually go down in there. We plan to check that out, but put it over.
There's at least one map posted on the first floor here, and unless you have a guidebook, you might want to snap a picture of that so you can take note of where everything is. I personally found that helpful, and I also liked seeing some of the things along the way, such as these giant pillars, which may have once been a part of this Colosseum. If you enjoy learning in a visual format, then just before you go upstairs, they do have a presentation which shows you a movie about the Colosseum and kind of gives some of the basic information there. Keep in mind, this tour also has a decent amount of walking, and some of that will be going up and down steps. So if you have someone who needs assistance, check ahead of time to make sure that they have the things that you're going to need for that individual. You're going to go up the stairs and you're going to get the view that I showed just a few minutes ago. Then they're going to have you go to the left or to the right as you go down the stairs, and as you pass through, you're going to be able to see that some of this is still under construction or restoration. And then also you're going to notice a cross up above the doorway. Remember that originally Christians were persecuted in Rome, and then eventually around 327, with Constantine's battle and victory, Christianity became the official religion of Rome. So you will see crosses and other Christian symbols throughout this Colosseum and throughout Rome itself because of that. This area here is actually one of my favorite parts because it has a floor that's reconstructed over the lower portions of the Colosseum, and also you have these marble seats where the emperor and others of importance sat. Some of the names are actually still inscribed on these seats. The ones that weren't taken throughout the ages, whenever people were harvesting marble and other valuable materials from the Colosseum and other buildings within the city. We were told several times throughout our trip to the city that the buildings were covered in marble, and that after Rome was sacked and almost destroyed, people would go through and take the marble and then burn it and turn it into paving material. Here's a look at one of the trap doors that was used to let animals and people up during the tournaments and the conquests of the Colosseum. And here's a look at the Colosseum itself, wide angle, so you can see down below and you can see the seating and everything. Although we had planned to go down into the depths of the Colosseum, unfortunately they were out of tickets on that day to do that, so I did try to get some good pictures of the underneath, and that way you'd be able to kind of at least get a look at it. Some of the information that we read through said that they kept various beasts that they had received during conquest in some of the cages down there, and also they kept people who were waiting to be killed or to take part in a contest. One of the plaques that we read as we were going into the Colosseum mentioned that they would set up scenes from various battles throughout history or within mythology, and that they would have the people reenact those. After checking out the areas with the cross and then the reconstructed floor, they have you make your way up some more stairs, which are followed by more stairs. The payoff is that once you make it to this final level, it's actually half museum, half viewing station, so you can look out over the entire Colosseum. Again, these exhibits are kind of set up so that you go one way and go the other way, and then you end up looking out over the entire Colosseum as well. A lot of history is included here because you can not only see artifacts but also read about them on informational plaques placed nearby. If you notice, the information is in both Italian and in English, and also in other languages as well. One thing I found was interesting was the collection of marble seats and the names that were attached to them. I always find it interesting to look at the different names and spellings. One of my kiddos' favorite parts was looking at the display, which talked about Roman coinage throughout time. And one of the reasons that it caught their attention was because when we first got off the train, we decided we'd have a little bit of fun and purchase a replica of the antique Roman coin. So needless to say, when the kiddos saw that there were 2 or 3 on the poster, they decided that they would check it out and compare to see which one the machine had given them in that morning. Something else that they really loved was this replica of the Colosseum in what would have been its glory days when everything was complete and all the statues were in place. Needless to say, we could spend a great deal of time just looking at these artifacts and reading about them, but we decided we'd go on out and look at the view from the top of the Colosseum. As you can see, it was amazing. There were plenty of seats back when this was in full use. Only a small part of the outside of the Colosseum has been restored so that you can see what that used to look like. I'm not sure if they're going to restore any of the inside to its former glory or not, but if they did, that would be really awesome to see, even if it was just a small section of seating. This visit happened in May, and as you can see, there were already a lot of people coming from all over the place in order to see this. so I can only imagine during the peak of tourist season how busy it would be. Here's a look back over the refinished area and the underbelly of the Colosseum itself. And just like everywhere else we've gone, Rebecca, even with a hurt foot, decided she would practice her handstand walking skills, and off she goes.
What is it? Oh, that's the outer wall. Yeah, that's the outer wall that only exists still on the north side.
What's fun is you can see some of the scaffolding and restoration work being done on the north wall and in other places throughout the Colosseum. And just like most of the other really fun adventures we've been on, this one ended in a gift shop. Unfortunately, although they had some really awesome items, they did not have any patches during our visit, so we're hoping that if we ever get to go back, they'll have some patches then. Add one to our travel bag. If you like the history of the Colosseum, this is a very good place to pick up some books though.
Thanks again for joining us. Check out my books at www.amazon.com/author/David H. Troyer. Check us out on all the other social media websites. Have a great day. We hope to see you in our travels. Colosseum. Lego bricks.
I was going to just walk by in the background, but then you finished.
Thanks again for checking us out. Thanks again for checking out the Colosseum with us here in Rome. Hope you have a great day. If you ever get a chance to visit, this is definitely one of the places I would put on my list.
Thanks for sticking around. One point of interest is the Colosseum was built in the year 70 AD or Anno Domini. Then it was completed around the year 80 AD or 80 Anno Domini.